Hi everybody, welcome to Wick. Okay, I'm not going to delete that because I've already deleted it once. Welcome to week, not Wick, week 16. Good grief. This is the last week before finals, and the final will actually be turning stuff in. So, I'm going to go over a few things and know that there will be more examples on Friday, possibly earlier. So, a couple things on paper notes. Now, I haven't gotten through all of them yet. My plan is by Thursday at the latest, most likely Wednesday, I'll be through all of them, which means from that point, everybody will have at least 6 days, probably a week. Some of you have now 8 days because I've commented on your papers to do final round of revision, which isn't editing, right? Editing is when you go back and fix your date so it's in proper MLA style, right? And you'll be doing that, right? Or you'll make sure your indentions are right on the works cited. But revising is when you go back and realize, wow, I gave 6 examples of, and I'm making this up, I gave 6 examples of racism, right? And I didn't go into any of them about what's actually underlining it and what's shaping that, right? Is this racism shaped by economics? Is this racism shaped by religious beliefs? Is this racism, what shaped it? So, one of the things that you want to do is I would rather you go deeper on 2 to 3 things, and I want you to, right, about how those things are viewed differently or shaped differently by different sources than giving me 6 examples that prove racism exists, right? So you want to ask yourself, have I gone deep enough into the things that I bring up, or am I just kind of showcasing top level, top level, top level, right? So we can, right, this week, definitely schedule one-on-one Zoom meetings. If you send me an email and say, hey, Steve, I'd like to meet, and give me a big window of availability, and we can set something up. And with Zoom, which is nice, I can pull up your paper, or I can give you the ability to pull up the paper on your screen if you've already made changes, and we can talk, and I can show you everything specifically and walk you through the paper and give you thoughts. So if you would like to do that, or you just want some more explanation, go ahead and contact me. Today, Tuesday, is my birthday, so I'm not going to be that focused on work today. But, Wednesday through Friday, absolutely. And I'll meet with somebody in the evening if your daytime schedule, if we can make it work, right? Just know if you schedule something with me, make sure that you put an alarm on your phone. So if we're going to meet at 7 p.m. on Thursday, you're there at 7 p.m. on Thursday, because I'll be rearranging my schedule to make sure I can talk to you. And I do want to talk to anybody who wants to talk. MLA style, right? It's not optional. So if you've, I still got people who are getting the date wrong, right? With a comma in there. It just doesn't belong. So go back, watch the videos, pull up the handouts. There's tons of material on MLA. Now, if I put in your feedback, I say something like review comma splices or fanboy. I think that the easiest, and there's 2 things. If you like stuff on paper, just go back to the heavy hitters of grammar, which I asked you to print out a long, long time ago. And if you haven't, go ahead and print that thing out. It's good to have, because once this class is over, about a month later, it shuts down and you don't have access to all of my handouts. So you can go to the heavy hitters of grammar, or another easy way is if you put that into a YouTube search, right? So if I just go here, YouTube, comma, splices, there you're going to have a ton of stuff on comma splices, and you can pick somebody that you like, and they're all usually, right, 2 to 8 minutes, and then get your refresher. Right? Oh, now so one person, Alexander, is using I because he's got some experience that totally ties into it. That makes sense, right? But if you do not have personal experience that ties into it, get rid of the I's. Your name's on the paper. It's much stronger to not use it typically, right? So, for example, if I say, I think no matter what comes next, you can discount it and say, well, so what? I think something else. So if I say, I think the Vikings stink, you just go, everybody's got their own opinion, who cares? If I say the Vikings stink and here's why, right? Then you have to look at the argument, not the person, which is why you really want to get rid of the I's, because all of a sudden it's making the paper about you, right? And it shouldn't be about you. It should be about your ideas, right? And what you found. And there is a difference between your ideas and you, at least as far as it comes around on the paper with an I. So, okay, so those are those notes. For Thursday, I want everybody to put down what their razzle dazzle is, what they're thinking of for their presentation. And this is the razzle dazzle. So don't say, my razzle dazzle is telling people about this fact. No, wait a second. What is it? My razzle dazzle is what? I'm going to give a theatrical speech. I'm going to have pictures. I'm going to create a mind map. Okay, this one doesn't quite work online as much, right? Though maybe you can get people to move in their desk chair. Make sure to name the razzle dazzle. Like, I'm going to bring in a song clip that represents the story. Okay, and then tell us the song clip, right? Maybe you're writing about nihilism, and so you're going to bring in, you know what? I'm going to bring in this 30-second clip from Nine Inch Nails that is like a nihilistic theme song, right? When it comes to any sort of video or music, think to yourself 30 seconds. Only show the bit that highlights what you want, because I don't want people to have presentations where we watch 2 minutes of somebody else talking, singing, whatever. 30 seconds? Sure. So when it comes to, I want you to think, what are you going to do to make this interesting? Also, there's the handout, right, which a couple people have already turned in, which you can turn it in early, and I'm giving them feedback. They're almost there. A couple things I've noticed, though. One, make sure to name the razzle dazzle. People are just kind of highlighting what they're going to share. I want to know how you're going to do it, right? So what I just talked about. And the other thing, there is a part which asks, what are 3 things you learned about doing research? So I'm asking you not to give me 3 more things about your topic, but what did you learn about research, right? There's good sources on the database. There isn't good sources on the database. I can find conflicting experts, on the research. So we're a research class. I actually want you to let go of the topic for a minute for these 3 things and think about, okay, the research process. And this goes from everything from coming up with ideas, organizing your thoughts, right? Finding sources, creating synthesis, right? Taking these different ideas, right? From the book that we read about the different taste buds, and then trying to look at something and see how those different ways, right? Oh, is this a safety issue? Somebody thinks it's a safety issue. Somebody thinks it's a purity issue. Somebody thinks it's, pick your spot. But what was it like trying to do that? All of those things would be about doing research. So that's what you're supposed to do there. The other thing is these handouts. If you fill them out and make sure you're using complete sentences, the idea is you're not giving me an outline. You're actually explaining this stuff. And you're going to attach it to your presentation. What's freeing about this is if you look at the handout and if you tried to present all of that, everybody would be here talking for 20 minutes. And we don't have enough time for that. We're busy people. So you can pick out the highlights, the most important things. Maybe somebody had an epiphany, right, doing research, and they're like, wow, I really want to share kind of what happened with this epiphany that I had. Great. You can do that in your presentation because the handout's going to cover the stuff you miss, right? So you can cherry pick in a good way the most interesting things from your handout that you want to talk to us. Share that, and just know we can go read the handout because you're going to make it clear enough that we can read your answers and understand them, right? And so that's how that's going to work together. How this is going to work, I have the presentations due before the paper, because you can have your big ideas that you want to talk about and share us with them and still fine tune your article. I think that's the best way. So for Monday, right, 6 days from now, I want you to turn in your presentation. And then on Tuesday, that's going to be our day for everybody to watch the presentations in our groups. We'll be in groups again, though a little bit bigger, and give feedback. And then on Wednesday, the final paper will be due, right? And that reminds me, instead of a Friday update, it's going to be a Thursday update, and I'm making that note right now. And heavy on presentation, right? So if you between now and then are working on the handout, get that ready, be thinking about what you're doing. I will have another video on Thursday that will help you fine tune it, and I'll answer any questions people have. So here's our schedule. This is a great David Lee Roth song. It's very nice at the end, right? Celebrate the good times, and we still got some more ahead. I mean, we don't as a group, right? But I think the discussions that have been going on, right? The things that people are struggling and working with and exploring are awesome and fun to read in such a wide range of stuff. It's great. Um, One person had mentioned how hard it was getting this draft done, and for some of you might be, ooh, things flew. For those of you who had a hard time, that's probably a really good sign, right? Because it means you didn't just write down the first thoughts you came into your head, or if you did, you started realizing, wow, what do I do with this? This is complex. Life is complex, and the ability to do research and then organize those thoughts is a way to take chaos, right? That chaos of all this information, all these different ways of looking at something and creating a sense of order, right? That's what you're doing in this paper. You're not trying to convince us you're right? You're trying to show us how chaotic, how many different perspectives, how complex an issue is, and then create order by showing us, and you know what, we can actually break this down. This group sees it this way, this group is using a different set of values and they look at it that way. Of course, that's an oversimplification, but it's not a bad one, right? So you want to be showing us the complexity, not convincing us that you're right. And if you think about it, if you do a good job of this, you should arm every reader to start coming up with some of their own answers, right? They can go, you know what, that one group, I really kind of have the same set of values with them, so I'm with them on that, right? Or they might go, wow, you know, I was in that one group, but the other group has some values too that I need to think about. Or you might just totally wake somebody up and say, holy crap, so much of this is just decided by who has the money, right? Which is sometimes the case. So may have wandered just a little bit at the end, but your papers are very interesting. I enjoy reading them, and I will be pushing probably everybody, right, in the next week to go deeper. And what I mean by deeper is, right, looking for the different angles, because we have well, pick your topic, and there's going to be all kinds of social pressure, right? What people want to say so they look good. This is the falsification dilemma, right? Where a lot of people will say one thing that they don't believe just because they want to fit in. So there's those pressures. There's economic pressures, right? If you want to keep your job, shut up and do this, right? Or the economic pressures to support one thing and get rid of another, even if the thing you're getting rid of is better for society. But if it doesn't make you money, right, out it needs to go. So there's social pressure, there's economic pressure, there is situational pressure, right? Pandemics have created a whole new set of unemployed people and a whole new set of pressures, right? That for some people, they're weathering the storm very easily. For other people, they are in hell. Think about, you know, children in abusive households, right? Or adults, men or women in abusive households, now being stuck in a situation where everybody says, stay home, right? And that place isn't safe. That's different, right? So, context, things that are happening in time right now or were happening 30 years ago are going to shape how people, right, experience things. And we even give names for it, right? The different waves of feminism, because at different times, different things were highlighted, different things were fought for, right? Okay, I think that's enough. And I want to just re-mention, right, if you want to have a one-on-one talk about your paper, send me an email, give me a couple times that would work for you, right? Like in the next 48 hours from the email. And I'll try to do it as soon as possible, but I'll do it as soon as I can make it fit in my schedule, and my schedule is pretty open, so we've got a lot of wiggle room here. All right, keep your foot on the gas at a reasonable speed, and I will see you on Thursday.